All right, so today we're going to talk spheres. So spheres, I have this apple because it's kind of circular. I have this ball of yarn, and I have this cat toy that jingles. Actually, I have a broken one too, so I'm going to use this one that's broken in half to kind of demonstrate some things. So we're going to talk about both things with spheres. We have not talked surface area or volume with those. So I have the formulas here. Surface area, you're going to use 4 pi r squared. Volume, you're going to use 4/3 pi r cubed, or you can use this other formula, which I'll show you. They're the same. Now we are going to need to find the radius. So, when I'm looking at, let's say, this ball of yarn, I need to find the radius, and the radius really would be from in the center there. If I could, stick this inside my ball of yarn, and I would measure to the outside. Now the issue is this thing is so curved, that's not really going to be a reality for us to kind of measure, like, where is the perfect center? How do I get to the outside? So what we're going to do instead is we are going to use circumference to find the radius. So I have a ball of green yarn here that I'm going to use to help me out. Circumference is really the entire way around the circle. So like this guy right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the circumference of my circle. And I'm going to use this yarn to kind of help me mark it. So this would be the circumference. And then I'll have my ruler here. And it looks like it's going to be just a little long. So we've got 12 inches goes to right here. So we've got 12 and a half inches. So my circumference is 12.5. For the yarn. So I'm going to take 12.5 equals my circumference formula, 2 pi r. I want to solve for the radius. So I'm going to divide by 2 pi. Here's where you have to be careful. If you divide by 2 pi in your calculator is going to first divide by 2 and then multiply by pi. So what I suggest, just to make things straight, in my calculator I'm going to do 12.5 divided by 2, and then I'm going to take that number and divide by pi, just to be sure. You could put the 2 pi in parentheses if you want. That would be fine too. So 12.5 divided by 2 is 6.25, and then I'm going to divide by pi, or 3.14, and I've got my radius is about, well, it's 1.989, so I'm actually just going to call my radius equal to exactly 2 inches, because that's really close. So if I were, we could kind of make sure that looks about right. We've got about 2 inches there. That looks pretty good. If you don't have string to help you out on this, that's totally fine. You can use your ruler. You'll just want to put a starting place, kind of where you start. So I'm going to put my thumb there. I'm going to spin this thing all the way around, and then, mark it again with a finger, and then measure that last ½ inch remaining. You could do that too. That would be fine. Okay, so there's my radius. So my radius is 2. So if I wanted to find the surface area, let's say I'm going to wrap this up and send it to someone as a present, and I wanted to figure out how much wrapping paper I needed, I could plug it into the surface area formula, which is 4 pi r squared, 2 squared. Again, make sure you square the 2 first. So 2 squared is 4 times this 4 times pi, or 3.14, and that gives me 50.27 inches squared. Surface area is inches squared. So make sure you've got that. Make sure you've got inches squared. If I wanted to find the volume, I'm going to plug it into this formula. 4/3 times pi times r cubed. My radius is 2. So I'm going to cube 2 first. You probably don't have a cube button on your calculator, so you can take 2 times 2 times 2 would be fine. You can also look for the little caret top. 2 to the 3rd power would be 2 caret top 3. It gives me 8 times pi, and then times 4. And then you want to divide at the very end by 3 or multiply by 4/3, totally up to you. So I have 33.51. This is inches cubed. So 33.51 inches cubed. I have 33.5 cubic inches of yarn here in my ball of yarn. Okay, so there's our two formulas. Make sure when you're calculating out volume, you say inches cubed, not inches squared. Okay, so another example, I'll measure another one. It's going to be the exact same. So if you're feeling good, you're feeling confident, you can stop the video now. My marker bled through a little bit, but that's okay. So maybe I wanted to measure this cat toy. Now the good thing about this cat toy is I have another one over here that's already broken. So if I wanted to find the radius of this guy, I could do what we did in the previous videos and find the diameter, which is 1.5. So that means my radius is 0.75. So, I mean, I don't want to break this one. This one I threw to the cat and it snapped because it's plastic. So, you know, if I put it back together, there's my sphere. Well, I know my radius is 0.75 inches because I was able to measure it because it comes apart. If I wasn't able to do that, I would want to measure the circumference first, all the way around, and find it, and you should get the same answer. So for the cat toy, radius equals 0.75 inches because I first use my diameter. And then I'm going to plug it into my formulas. So the surface area formula is 4 pi r squared, 4 pi times 0.75 squared. So 0.75 squared is 0.5625 times 4 times pi, 0.44 inches squared. So there is just under a half an inch of square inches of plastic that makes up this toy. 0.44 inches squared of plastic. Let's say I wanted to fill this up with water, and I wanted to know how much water to put in there. I would calculate the volume, and that would be 4 pi r cubed divided by 3, or you can put the 3 out in front. Up to you. R is 0.75, so 0.75 to the third power times 4 times pi, and then divided by 3 at the very end, equals 1.77 inches cubed of water that would fit in this little cat toy here. Okay, now I'm going to measure the apple. Again, if you're feeling good, you're feeling confident, you can stop the video. So the apple here, the apple, I could cut it in half to find the diameter. That's not a bad idea, but I'm not going to do that because I'm not ready to eat this apple right now. So I'm going to use my string again, measure to the best of my ability the circumference of this apple. So it's going to be about here. So here's my circumference, which is about, looks like 10 inches. So 10 inches is my circumference of my apple. All right. So when I want to find the radius, I'm going to take 10 equals 2 pi r. I'm going to divide it in chunks, so I'm going to divide it by 2 first. 5 equals pi times r, then divide by pi, which is 1.59. So if I wanted to measure my radius from the center, just over 1.5, which looks pretty good, okay, 1.59. Then I'm going to plug it into my surface area formula and my volume formula. Surface area is 4 pi r squared. So that's going to be 4 times pi 1.59 squared. Do that part first. 1.59 squared times pi times 4 equals 31.77 inches squared. You could consider that like the skin on the apple is 31.77 inches squared. And if I wanted to find how much inside the flesh of the apple, that would be 4 pi r cubed divided by 3. R 1.59 to the third, or take 1.59 times 1.59 times 1.59 times pi times 4 divided by 3, 16, is that right? Yeah, 16.84 inches cubed of apple inside this guy here. Okay, so that's the formulas for spheres. You don't need to make a video, you just need to complete the Canvas assignment. You just need to find one sphere, not 3 like I have here, but you've got some options. And if you can't find a sphere, of course you're welcome to go on Google or find something that's close. I thought about, like I had this circular coffee mug I've been using. It's pretty close, but it's not perfect. So find something close or find a sphere. You know, look in your garage. Maybe you've got some basketballs or something out there. Those will work too. Okay, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.